Welcome to Blackman Folktales. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also like and share. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell, as this means the whole world to us. The morning sun poured through the large windows of the Okonkwo family mansion, illuminating marble floors and gold-framed portraits that told the story of a proud lineage. To the world, the Okonkwos were the perfect family, wealthy, united, and deeply respected in the community. But beneath that facade of harmony lay cracks invisible to the untrained eye. Nigerian young Ada Okonkwo, the only daughter of Chief Emeka Okonkwo, had always been the quiet strength of the family, disciplined, focused, and fiercely loyal. Her father often said she was the son he never had, a compliment that secretly stung her older brothers Obinna and Chima. Though they smiled and laughed during family dinners, their envy simmered beneath the surface. Her mother, Madame Grace Okonkwo, was a woman whose beauty hid a steel heart. She had mastered the art of manipulation, always saying the right thing to maintain peace, even if that peace was built on lies. To Ada, her family was everything. She believed love could heal even the deepest scars. But that belief would soon become her greatest weakness. The day began like any other, but fate had already chosen it as the day her world would begin to crumble. The call came in the afternoon. Her father had collapsed at his office. Ada rushed to the hospital, her heart pounding, only to find her mother and brothers standing in the corridor, faces pale, eyes wet, the unspoken truth heavy in the air. Chief Okonkwo was gone. The man who had been the family's pillar, protector, and conscience had taken his last breath before she could even say goodbye. The next few days were a blur of mourning, condolences, and endless visitors offering empty words. Ada threw herself into organizing the funeral, determined to honor her father's memory with grace. But she couldn't ignore the strange tension between her brothers, quiet exchanges, abrupt silences, and knowing glances that made her uneasy. Still, she told herself grief could make people act strangely. After all, everyone processed loss differently. It wasn't until the lawyer called for the reading of the will that the first real crack appeared. The entire family gathered in the study, the room still smelled of her father's cologne, his books still perfectly arranged. The lawyer cleared his throat and began reading. When he reached the section dividing assets, silence filled the room like a heavy fog. The company shares, the mansion, and most of the estate had been left to Ada. Her brothers got smaller portions, properties, vehicles, and cash, but the major inheritance went to her. For a moment no one spoke. Ada sat frozen, her heart racing. She hadn't asked for this. She didn't even understand why her father had made such a choice. Then she looked up and saw her brothers' faces, eyes burning with restrained fury, lips pressed tight into forced smiles. Her mother clutched her rosary, muttering something about fairness under her breath. The perfect family image shattered in that silent moment. That night, the mansion no longer felt like home. The corridors that once echoed with laughter now whispered with suspicion. Ada sat in her room, replaying the will reading over and over in her mind, trying to convince herself that her family would understand. She told herself they'd get over it, that blood was stronger than greed. But deep inside, she felt a growing unease, a chill that no amount of faith could shake off. As she lay in bed, her phone vibrated. It was a message from an unknown number. Her fingers trembled as she opened it. The words glowed on her screen, "Be careful who you trust. Blood isn't always thicker than money." Her breath caught in her throat. She sat up, staring at the message, her heart pounding in confusion. Who could have sent it? Was it a cruel prank? Or a warning? She looked toward her door and thought she heard faint footsteps in the hallway. Slowly she got up and locked it, her pulse quickening. The night air was thick, heavy with something unspoken. Ada didn't know it yet, but the warning was real. The same family she had sacrificed everything for, the people she loved most, were already plotting her downfall. They smiled at her during breakfast, hugged her after the funeral, and whispered sweet words of comfort. But beneath those gestures lay the darkest betrayal she would ever face. And before long she would discover that sometimes, the knife that cuts deepest, is the one held by your own blood. The morning after the funeral, the mansion buzzed with an eerie calm. People had come and gone, leaving behind silence and tension that weighed heavily on every room. Nigerian young Ada tried to distract herself by organizing her father's files, believing that immersing herself in his legacy would ease the pain. But as she opened the study door, she found her brothers already there, whispering in low tones that quickly stopped the moment she entered. "You're up early," Obinna said, his tone flat, eyes avoiding hers. "Just trying to stay busy," Ada replied softly. She bent to pick up a stack of documents when she noticed something odd. The lawyer's sealed brown envelope, which had contained her father's will, was missing from the desk drawer where he had kept it after the reading. Her heartbeat quickened. "Did either of you take the will?" she asked, trying to sound calm. Both brothers exchanged a quick glance before Obinna shrugged, pretending to be confused. "Why would we need it?" he asked. Chima added, "Maybe the lawyer collected it." But Ada knew that wasn't true. The lawyer had specifically told her the document would remain in the family's safe. By evening, the entire house was in chaos. Her mother accused her of being careless, the brothers acted indignant, and the lawyer was called in to explain. His face turned pale when he saw the empty drawer. "Someone removed this intentionally," he said grimly. "Only family members have access to this room." Everyone turned to look at Ada. Rumors spread fast. Before she knew it, the staff were whispering that Ada had stolen the will to manipulate the estate. Her mother refused to look at her, muttering that her daughter had become too ambitious. Ada tried to defend herself, but the more she spoke, the guiltier she appeared. That evening, her brothers confronted her in the living room, their faces cold and distant. "You've been pretending to be perfect all along," Chima said bitterly. "Now the truth is out, you're no better than any of us." Ada was stunned. "You think I would steal my own father's will?" she shouted. Obinna smirked. "Then explain why 20 million Nigerian nairas was transferred from the company account to yours 2 days ago." Ada froze. "What are you talking about?" she asked. "Check your balance," Obinna said, tossing a printed bank statement onto the table. Ada's eyes widened as she saw the figures. Her name. Her account. Her father's company account. She felt dizzy, struggling to breathe. She hadn't authorized any transfer. Someone had forged it. "This is fake," she cried, her voice shaking. But her brothers only laughed. "You've been caught, Ada," Chima said. "Maybe you thought you could outsmart us." Their words stabbed at her heart. That night, her mother ordered her to leave the mansion, until things were sorted out. As she packed her bags, tears streaming down her face, she caught her reflection in the mirror, tired, broken, and betrayed. Everything she had believed in was unraveling. She wandered through the quiet streets, clutching her father's old Bible for comfort. As she sat on a bench near the gate, she opened it, hoping to find solace in scripture. But instead, a small USB drive slipped out from between the pages. Her breath caught. It was hidden carefully, wrapped in a piece of paper. Her father's handwriting stared back at her. "For Ada. Only if something happens to me." Her trembling hands inserted the drive into her laptop. A video began to play, her father sitting at his desk, looking older and weaker than she remembered. "Ada," he said, his voice heavy. "If you're watching this, it means I am gone, and the family business is in danger. Someone close to us is trying to destroy everything I built. I couldn't tell you before because I didn't know whom to trust." Tears blurred her eyes as he continued. "The truth is darker than you can imagine. Be careful, my daughter. Trust no one, not even those you love. The answers you seek are in the company's records. Look for Project Black Pearl." The screen went dark. Ada sat in shock, her father's warning echoing in her ears. She wasn't crazy. Someone was plotting against her. And if the message was true, her own blood had been part of it. Nigerian young Ada barely slept that night. Every word from her father's video replayed in her head. Project Black Pearl, betrayal, danger. At dawn, she put on a plain dress, tied her hair back, and walked to the family company headquarters. Her father's office was now occupied by Obinna, who barely looked up when she entered. "What do you want?" he asked sharply. "I need access to Dad's old files," Ada said, her voice steady. "For what?" Chima, who was sitting on the couch, sneered. "Haven't you done enough damage?" She ignored him, keeping her eyes on Obinna. "Please. It's important." He leaned back, smiling faintly. "All right, Ada. I'll send someone to help you. But don't touch anything that doesn't concern you." She nodded, pretending to obey. But once she was inside the records room, she slipped away from the assistant and began searching through old folders. Her heart pounded as she scanned the labels, contracts, Texas, Black Pearl. Her fingers froze. There it was. She opened the file and gasped. Inside were bank statements, forged signatures, offshore accounts, all linked to her brothers and a mysterious investor named Chief Igwe. The transactions dated back months before her father's death. Her mind raced. Her father had discovered they were siphoning funds, and they must have silenced him before he could expose them. Ada's hands trembled as she copied the documents onto a flash drive. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside. She hid behind a shelf, holding her breath. 2 voices entered, the brothers. "We need to move fast," Obinna said. "The lawyer's asking too many questions." Chima replied, "Relax. We'll handle him. Once the company name changes, no one can trace anything." Ada's stomach twisted. They were planning to erase every trace of her father's ownership. As soon as they left, she slipped out quietly, her heart hammering. Outside the building, she called the lawyer who had handled her father's will. When she explained what she'd found, he sighed heavily. "Ada, I warned your father about them," he said. "They've been planning this for years. But listen to me, whatever you do, don't confront them yet. They're dangerous." She nodded silently, tears spilling down her cheeks. "What do I do?" she whispered. "Gather proof," he replied. "Then we strike." For the first time in days, Ada felt a glimmer of hope. Her father had left her clues. She would finish what he started. That night, she hid the flash drive under her pillow and made a vow. I will not rest until I expose them. The next morning, Ada returned to the company disguised as a cleaner. Wearing a simple uniform, she blended in easily. 4 hours, she observed her brother's meetings, taking secret photos and recordings. She learned that the mysterious investor, Chief Igwe, was due to visit the office soon to finalize the company's sale. Her blood ran cold. That would mean total loss of her father's empire. She hid behind the door as she recorded Obinna and Chima laughing about how easy it had been to turn their mother against her. She believes every lie we feed her, Chima said proudly. And once Ada's name is ruined, we'll ship her abroad to get her out of the way. Ada bit her lip to keep from gasping. Her heart ached, not only from betrayal, but from disbelief that the people she had loved the most could plot such evil. She quietly slipped out of the building, holding her evidence close. For the first time she stopped crying. There were no tears left, only fury. And beneath that fury, a fire was building that would soon consume everyone who had dared to destroy her life. Thank you for watching. Kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as this means a lot to us.